We got what? Two more games?
2 more games.
All right, 2 more games. We got Manchester City versus Arsenal, game of the week that we chose. 3-1 victory for City as they whacked the Gunners. 59% possession going to City, 41 going to Arsenal. 19 shots with 12 on goal for City. 4 shots with 2 on target for Arsenal. Jacob, why did Arsenal lose?
I think they were actually too conservative in this game. They were for very long stretches sitting very deep when Manchester City had the ball, and it just made it really difficult for them to get out. I don't think that Unai Emery had the right system for this game. I think that, or at least didn't make the correct adjustments once it started to turn sideways for them. Because really, I mean, the first 10 minutes of the game, it was fairly even with I think it was a corner that they scored on. Yeah, it was Monreal flicked it to Koscielny for the first goal. And that's something that should have been more exploited with like the set pieces and the corners and such, because 50% of Manchester City's goals this season have been conceded from set pieces. And we talk a lot about how the like lack of height in the midfield and attack, and how that hurts them defending, stuff like that, where it's like they can't mark everyone because like there's only 2 people basically that have any height in that team, with like the 2 center backs, and everyone else is like below 6 foot. So they're like, you can't, like Raheem Sterling was marking Koscielny on that goal. Like that's the reality of like City's defense of set pieces. So I think that they just didn't make the adjustments that they needed once that. I think they had an opportunity in the first half, and then the second half was all Manchester City, and they just like were pinned back, and I don't know that there was a whole lot they could have done with that at that point.
I think the tactical like victory in this was attacking the right side. City attacked 43% of the time on the left, and I think switching Sané and Sterling was a great move.
Okay.
Because Lichtsteiner was just like basically left on the island, only had 5 clearances and 0 tackles, so basically like almost non-existent.
Sané didn't start. It was Bernardo Silva on the right.
My bad, sorry.
But yeah, it's something that you see from Pep every once in a while, where he typically plays like Sané and Sterling, where it's like a right footer on the right side, left footer on the left side, and like they cross to each other behind. And it was kind of the other way around, where De Bruyne and David Silva ended up a little bit wider, and the fullbacks came forward for like the width and the crossing, and then Silva and Sterling tucked in because they're like a left-footed on the right side and a right foot on the left side sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So like it was a little bit of difference. And then Arsenal basically played like a straight-up 4-4-2, and they were just overwhelmed in the they were like forced into that rigid system, like forced to stay in that rigid system where like when City were on and off the ball, like they were 4 at the back without the ball, and then Fernandinho came forward into midfield with the ball, and like they were just like it was 5-on-2 basically. I also didn't like, if I remember correctly, Arsenal played Monreal at left back and Koscielny at left midfield. Not Koscielny.
Chaco?
No, Kolasinac. And so like they basically had 2 left backs on the left hand side, and no like winger. There was no winger in that team, so there was no threat on that side.
Kolasinac, I mean, from what I've seen, he's basically supposed to be a left wing back. So I guess that's why they played him there. I mean, they played Maitland-Niles on the right, and they played Hector Bellerin on the right as a right winger. But I think another big thing too is that they missed like an attacking.
Bellerin was already hurt, wasn't he?
Huh?
Bellerin?
I'm saying in general.
Oh, okay.
In general, in the past. So I've seen him like he's used those guys moving forward. I think what was missing too was like an attack on the right as well. I think Maitland-Niles would have been. I think he's still hurt, unfortunately. I think that's why Lichtsteiner played. But he would have offered something a little bit better on the right, because there was like literally Aubameyang and Lacazette had like almost 0 involvement in this game. But also on the left, attacking wise for City, Sterling had 4 key passes. David Silva had 3 key passes, and Laporte even had a key pass. 2 crosses from Sterling, 3 crosses from Silva, and 2 crosses from Laporte. So we see how they really exposed that like left hand.
They had so many like double teams and overloads on the side, and I think that like Arsenal's right side of their defense with Lichtsteiner. First off, Iwobi, who gave the ball away for the first goal. I think Laporte took him off the ball and then crossed to Aguero for the first goal. So like Iwobi, not the best person coming back to help out in any case on that right side. And then you had Lichtsteiner, who was repeatedly beaten by Sterling. Like he just can't keep up. And then you have Mustafi, who's like the weakest of the 3 Arsenal center backs of like the Socrates, Koscielny, Mustafi. Like he's easily the weakest. So like having them together on the right hand side, and then with Iwobi, who's not like the best person to come back and help. I think they're like so like you said, so many of you said it was like 40% of the
43% on the left side.
Just on the left. So like I think City realized that too. Where like there were
evenly
holes there
in the
to
middle,
be had.
and then on the right was basically even.
Yeah.
I think also Arsenal played the wrong formation in this game. Even though if you stack the midfield, regardless, I think it would help them out defensively a little bit more. And then also just putting Iwobi maybe in the middle, and then I don't think Shako apparently was not available to play in this game. So I don't know. Elneny, sorry, was an option. So I think maybe pitting him in the midfield would have been a better. I don't know. I think that's another thing too. Like when you see managers in these formations, you're not setting yourself up for success, and I think that's what they did as well.
I'm also gonna say
unsuccess.
A positive, I think, on the Arsenal side. This was the first time in a while where I like really got to watch Guendouzi play, and like that dude's the real deal.
Yeah,
like he was by far the best Arsenal player on the field. I think he had actually a really good game. I think that he was just like his shortcomings in the game were because they were brought on by the shortcomings of the people around him. Where like he was forced because of the system and style they were going for, like forced to cover in so many different scenarios. Like he had to help. Like he was so stretched. Like he had to be everywhere to try to help like cover all the holes. And like he played really well. He was comfortable on the ball. Like moving it out of his own box, like playing out of the back. He picked a number of like really dangerous passes forward, trying to like set Lacazette and Iwobi and Aubameyang loose, stuff like that. Like he had a really good game. That was like the one positive I would have for Arsenal out of that, is that like they seem to have really found like at least someone. Maybe as Arsenal fans they would have been more aware of him like coming through the ranks maybe. But like
they brought him in from League Two, a League Two side.
Oh really? I didn't realize that. I thought he came up through the academy. So like that, that even I guess further accentuates the point I was going to make. Because like I had no clue who this guy was until like the first game of the season he played against us, and Chelsea the week after.
I thought he was impressive in that game too. He's just a guy.
But he's matured this season.
Yeah,
like the Guendouzi, like you could see the very first game that we played against Arsenal. Like you could see like, oh, this guy, like he has a little bit of raw talent.
I would say he was the best player on the Arsenal side, honestly.
Even in that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Not that I was like, I saw this from a mile away. No,
but
I thought
he felt like a little bit more raw in that game. And now like he felt like a midfielder who's been in the Premier League for 5 years.
Yeah.
In this game.
Yeah. And he's still going to be maturing and everything.
And he's only like 19 or 20, I think, right?
Yeah. Pretty young. He's pretty young. But yeah, it's a guy that's going to be at the end of the season. He's going to have a fat rating next year, probably. Like a fat boost.
Yeah.
Boost fat.